tap in, y'all. So just give me a minute. I want to make sure that the chat is open both on YouTube and Facebook. Facebook is all right. I don't know why. Okay, it's open. Changes going around, I guess. Well, I hope everybody can see me. Let me see if I need to change this a little bit. Okay. Well, welcome to the show. It's Friday night. It is the 7th of January 2022. Double deuce. And we haven't seen each other for a long time, another year, I guess, since last year. I see my brother Felix. Hope that you're doing well. I saw that you were under the weather, bro. COVID kicked you in your butt, huh? But our God is greater. It's good. Hope that you're doing well, man, and continue to rise up, man. You are the man. Remember that. I said this. I'll send the memo. God bless you. But back to what I was saying before, it is now the year 2022. And like all New Year's, many people start out the New Year's with a fresh new perspective, per se, or fresh new endeavor in their mind of what they want to do and what they want to accomplish in this new year. Whatever it is, just make it an attainable challenge. Make it one that's realistic. Make it so it's something that you can benefit from, but it'll keep you motivated. So that continues on so beyond your reach. There's a lot of times we make these elements of surprise or whatever the situation, these circumstances, we make our goals like I'm gonna lose 50 pounds, and then we reach that goal. Then all of a sudden we slide back. If it's financial, I'm gonna make $20,000 extra this next 6 months, and then they do it, and all of a sudden you spend it $20,000. We have to be more dedicated to our resolve. In the year 2022, it's just another year. However, calendars have changed, the atmosphere is changing, climate change, but the one most important thing that needs to change in order to really create the world that you want to live in is you. You. No one else has a gun to your head. No one can control your life. You are responsible for. So I pray that everyone is well. I hope that you're motivated to be the best you that you possibly can. Keep in mind that what you are has nothing to do with the atmosphere around. What you are is a culmination of your truths, your experiences, your lineage, and then the character personality that you put into physical manifestation. So you're like a gumbo. So mix that gumbo up and make sure that it's palatable. Make sure it's about as spicy as you want it to be, flavorful as you need it to be, and as nourishing as it's supposed to be. So hope that everyone is well. My New Year's was a very, I would say, quiet one. Usually my wife and I and my son, we go out into our local community, into a real festive atmosphere, just to see how people enjoy themselves. Sometimes you see some crazy folks. Hi, Taria. I see Taria Ramos had locked in. I hope that you're well and the kids are well. God bless you. Um, I'm hoping that your New Year's was festive and it's one that's productive and safe, because this is the year the pandemic seems to be creeping up on us even more so. Excuse me. Here on the New Norm, we talk about different perspectives of life based off of the truth that all of us got hit with in the year 2020, which was COVID-19. Due to COVID-19, there was a lot of transitions that we've had to make in life. And those transitions in our lives had to create new norms, new ways to look, new ways to traverse, new ways to interact with other people, new ways to have meetings, new ways to go to school, new ways to get training, new ways to work. So many new norms in our lives. We found compelled to create a media source or a home base where not only can you gather information about the truths about the COVID-19 and its vaccines, but how we can interact and how we can live life and navigate through these hardships a lot easier. There's nothing on this planet that you should have to live and go through alone if you got tons of people out here on the planet that's willing to grab a hand, walk with you, take a deep breath, take a joke, grab a drink, whatever the situation is, because we're all in this together. And life is real sweet if you allow it to be. And we've been blessed to be active for the past, now it's a little bit close to 2 years now. We've been doing the show weekly. My brother Adrian will come on shortly. He has been my partner for the past year and a half, and we've entertained quite a lot of great information, great opportunities, and exposure to the world. And we're hoping that this year can be even more flourishing for us. We believe in this platform. We believe in how we're putting this together, and we're really grateful to the powers that be, our creator, and the blessed spirit around us that keeps pushing us all together so we can have this opportunity to have a conversation. So welcome to the show. The New Norm is here for you. 2.0, because this is the second platform. The third platform should be coming around. It's just the explosion and the interaction of something new and expansive. So when we launch the 3.0, you'll know about it. It'll be a lot wider spread in media-wise, different media formats, and different perspectives, maybe a different studio. Never know. But we'll see. But right now, I hope you enjoyed 2.0. Welcome to the show. Let's talk a little bit about how we're seeing the world today when it comes to COVID-19. Just recently, all the discussion has had talking about the truths of how COVID-19 has spiked recently. Here on the show, we talked about how COVID-19 is expected to spike because of the holidays. The holidays are always a time of year where people gravitate to one another. We traverse large bodies of water and land to make sure that we're in the presence of our family. So we interact with others. We place ourselves in really, I guess, risky avenues of travel, because if you're in an airplane, you're stuck with 200 other passengers. You don't know who's carrying what, who's sick, whatever the situation, regardless of how they may be carrying a vaccination card or not. You got to be really careful. So with that being said, recent reports said that we have saw a spike, another increase in numbers. They're saying it's up to 38% more than we've had last year when it comes to the holidays due to Omicron. And that spike only shot up about 7% higher than it did on Christmas. So hopefully that's going to be the last time we see it spike in this time frame. We know, customarily looking at these calendar-wise, that because people have a tendency of coming together for major holidays like Christmas, Thanksgiving, and New Year's, Shortly after that, there's not a whole lot that people come together in large masses. There is Valentine's Day, that uh, marketing scheme, but that's nothing to the scope of what Christmas and well, yesterday was actually Three Kings Day for all those that celebrate. For anybody who celebrates it, Felicidad. Um, so, we're also looking right at we're looking down the highway of seeing Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday, which will be in February, and the Epiphany and how it's celebrated throughout the world. The Epiphany that's basically what Mardi Gras is, although it's turned into something totally different and widespread exposure to all kinds of freaky existences and drinking and what have you, whatever it is. It is what it is. But in other countries, they celebrate the Epiphany in Carnival. And Carnival goes all over the Caribbean. You have some major Carnival locations, destinations like Trinidad. There's Carnival throughout every island in the Caribbean, but as well as you see it in South America, like Brazil. So if you do interact, if you do celebrate, enjoy yourself. Just be very, very safe in doing so. Um, Lately, information has basically been something promoted totally different than widespread exposure. What we're seeing, and forgive you see in the background, sometimes I have to update the page to refresh it so I can see updated information because Facebook be bugging. Broadband and Xfinity, they get funky anyway. But recently, you see the scope of conversation of Omicron, how it's impacting people. The CDC and now the World Health Organization is scampering around trying to see what it is about Omicron and how it's spreading so rampantly and how viciously. The difference between Omicron and the way the variant Delta was is you see it more so in symptoms that reflect a common cold. And if you've noticed lately, a lot of people have been getting sick. A lot of people. There's some people that are in denial, say, nah, what have you. Those are individuals who don't want to believe they're susceptible to something so rampantly vicious. Yeah. But ultimately, if your body's ready and prepared to fend off as much virus, as much, all kinds of critters that are maybe in the air, linger around, all those factors that may affect the human body, then cool, you can deal with this and hopefully you'll be able to survive it quickly. That's what the vaccine does. It helps to try to eliminate the strength of the impact of the symptoms that come around from COVID-19, SARS-CoV-19. So my man, Felix Perez, he's on the chat. He just suffered COVID-19. He just survived it. My man now is the Superman that he is with his immune cells now. He's basically stating saying, yes, it's like the flu. Let me make sure that it's... but I don't know about you. I can't stand the flu. For many years, I would get sick around the same time of year. I wouldn't get vaccinated for the flu because I didn't feel it was necessary. I'm still to this point very hesitant of getting vaccinations. However, I'm not going to tell anyone you shouldn't be vaccinated, especially when it comes to something so important. But myself, not to be reckless, but it's just something that I wasn't as easy to accept. One is the simple fact is once you get the vaccine, the first bits of it, how your body reacts to it is different than others, man. I know me, I get a vaccination and boom, I'm sick and I can't stand being sick. And when it comes to flu, my body, I don't know what it is. I do everything I possibly can to stay healthy. I take care of ingesting proper things. I eat organic foods. I cook, stuff like that. I have my vitamins, regular checkups. I make sure everything is healthy. My wife's immune system is strong as well. My son has a immune deficiency. He is immune. He's more in jeopardy about Omicron affecting him than me. So I had to make sure that I was vaccinated for his sake, as well as my elderly mother. And at that time, my elderly mother-in-law. So for the various reasons, I wasn't worried about myself. I had to do what I had to do for them. but I've always been sick. And I know this time around, when it comes to the vaccine, the first time I had cold chills, I had fevers. It was really hard. The second shot, let me just tell you, I've never in my life had fever so much that every muscle in my body was tense and sore. Never in my life have I ever experienced something like that. And that was the vaccine. I was sore as hell. It was hurting me. So imagine that type of intensity on somebody who already has a bit of scoliosis. I don't know how to develop that. The bed that I've been sleeping in for many, many years prior to the one I just bought. And then no, it's actually the bed I have upstairs. And then the circumstances of just the pandemic pounds, man. It's been putting a hammer onto my back and the whole nine. So having all that, and then all of a sudden there's something knocking me out. Never felt that kind of intensity. It's nothing cool, man. So I could only imagine for those that are susceptible who have gotten COVID-19, and some people are champions. They've got it and it's never felt nothing, and all of a sudden, a couple of days later, boom, it's gone. But I know some people have got it and unfortunately had to be hospitalized, ventilated, and the whole nine. And unfortunately, too many of us have passed away. But those of us that didn't, champions, tip my hat off, or should I say, rub my head for y'all in honor of y'all, whatever the situation is. But this illness is something serious. So I try to be as serious as possible. And here on the New Normal, what we try to do is inform you for any updated information with regards to the COVID-19, as well as resources and or services available or allotted for you and your benefit to help you navigate through the hard times because of this pandemic. One of the examples of the hard times is school closings. We're starting to see even more so schools going back to virtual learning. That's been probably the most contested truth of this pandemic presence that we have now, because a lot of students were going through all kinds of transitional problems, chaos, and what have you. Some excelled exceptionally well, others tanked. Their social skills were stymied, and they just weren't being able to deal with things the way they normally would in a school session. And then the other ancillary programs that have to come together with education and feeding. When kids are at school because their parents have to work, and all of a sudden, because the kids have to be at home, parents had to stay home with them. Then we saw a massive amount of people being laid off because of work. Not enough people working. Then outside of that, some people chose to be unemployed. And then because of how the government was playing like, Godfather and just blessing people with these major amounts of money through stimulus, one specifically is the subsidy, the additional subsidy given to people unemployed. They were giving like double benefits. I mean, anybody who was unemployed at that time got paid. Y'all got paid well. And y'all were acting like you were rich. And now that it's over, you're crying wolf. You should have heeded all the warnings earlier on and saved up your money, or did with something with the money to make money. And I'm not talking about hustlers out there with selling weight and coke and weed and all that shit. Now I'm talking about legal businesses. You didn't make money. You didn't use that money to make more money. Don't complain about its loss right now, because it was a gift at that time. So now we're in a situation, right, where the economy, it sort of recovered a bit, but we're about to face another dive. And the truth of the matter is that because so many people have been ill, and because Omicron seems to be even more vicious than it has been, more people may be susceptible to hospitalization. So if you're paying attention to COVID now, the doctors and CDC are not necessarily accounting for the people who have COVID. Now what they're doing is only identifying the people who are being hospitalized for COVID. So there's a concern, because in most instances, we see people being fast-tracked away from being hospitalized. In many instances, you've seen hospitals, they'll see you in the beginning. If they see any kind of symptoms that may look like COVID-19, they'll tell you in a minute, go home. And if it gets really hard, really bad, they'll come back and then we'll do whatever you need to do. But until that point in time, we're not going to see you take 2 aspirin. We'll send you, so we'll send you some prescriptions, or you can talk to us, a virtual doctor. So it's really a challenge when it comes to the medical industry and having proper health care. So many doctors have succumbed to the processes so that we see that so many people have had to face and had to deal with. So the systems have changed. Okay. I'm having technical issues, y'all. I'm trying to make sure everything is set up the way it needs to. In addition to, let me see chat. Load you in, bro. I want to make sure everything's together. What's up, brother Adrian? How are you?
And not bad. I'm trying to get my people up inside of here. I just received a phone conversation from Bruce George. He said the link that we sent him earlier, you're only able to see the show, but you're not able to get on. So maybe you might be able to do something there.
The link is right there on the chat. He has to go to YouTube. And once the YouTube there, it will divert him using that link to get on to StreamYard.
Okay, the link is on YouTube, what you sent him, right? So
right in the chat.
I can get him on the, I want to get him on the horn right now.
Okay. So in the meantime, folks, I just wanted to make sure that you stay aware how about 38% higher numbers wise is COVID since last year. And they're trying to address it. The only updated information when it comes to COVID that you can depend on is now the CDC has gotten the agreement through the federal government to say okay to the one pill, that's Pfizer, the pill version of the vaccine. They're still working on the vaccine in pill form being available for children. So there's a lot of speculation about that type of science because the vaccine itself, utilizing the same type of technology as all vaccines before, the bodies interact with different things, and using a pill form could be a lot of factors being involved. A lot of things having the acid shifts in your body, how your body digestion system goes on. It doesn't go directly into your bloodstream like it would be in a regular vaccine session shot into your arm. So there's a lot of factors taking place on that. And then that's an expected thing to address long-term. And again, we're talking about the window of vaccination. Moderna may have been the one vaccine that hadn't gotten the okay or the confirmation of having an elongated time period for being covered. Of course, it dissipates with time, but it had at least 4 times the amount of time that Johnson & Johnson had, and nearly about 25 to 30% longer time of fully coverage than Pfizer did. So that's the one I used because of the recommendations I got, the discussions I've had with pharmacists and doctors at that time, some various doctors and pharmacists that believe that that may have been the better one to take. However, whichever one you took, as long as you've taken it with understanding of what you're taking and how it impacts you, how it affects you, please continue to be cautious and continue to be accountable for how you interact and how you impact all those around you. I hope that you're surviving it and doing well. COVID-19 is something that's serious and we have to continue. Another point while we're waiting for Adrian and our guest to come on that I wanted to make sure that we discuss is that we just saw the justice come in for Ahmaud Arbery. The men that were involved in his murder were convicted, and only one of them has potentially the rights opportunities to get parole. One. The 2 men, specifically Travis McMichael at 35 years old and his father, Gregory McMichael, 65, were both sentenced to life. Life in prison for shooting. The one individual, which was an ex-police officer, of course, had received a sentence that did not say it was a life sentence. but it does have a possibility. His name is William Bryan. Criminal intent. He wasn't found guilty in every case, but there was justice, at least for Ahmaud Arbery. Is it an example of how things are turning towards the proper ways that we'd like to see as far as the weights and measures of justice? We don't know. It's too soon to say. However, for the community and the family of Ahmaud Arbery, we pray that this gives them some resolve, give them some comfort. That these men who took it upon themselves to play cops or play military militia, thinking they were doing something that they would be justified in doing so, and took the life of this young man who, from all accounts have said, was an exceptional young human being who brought more to the table than a lot of young people his age do these days. So we continue to keep him in our minds and our prayers, but let's continue to keep pushing to ensure that justice is available for everyone, not just one group of people or the people who can afford representation, legal representation from these celebrity lawyers. I was listening to a conversation earlier today. It's a debate about someone who has been placed into a local voluntary board, and the charge that's placed upon the chief administrator in my municipality, the highest elected person in our city, has had a problem with this young man. And in doing so, they're looking to remove that person. The one who's solicitor, who's supposed to represent the elected body of the city itself, said he kept promoting lawyers, everyone involved in this whole situation that were lawyers, as if all lawyers are upholding the law at all times, as if all lawyers do the utmost right and what's just in every case, as if lawyers are not involved in illegal activities, as if lawyers do not at times create the imagery of something being done in a proper way, and ultimately it isn't in a proper way, that it's not executed in a proper way. And they knew this. It was deliberate. We've seen this happen too many occasions. So I will say this, for the lawyers that try to defend these men, they were paid to do so. However, they have to live with the justice and the outcome of this, that what they did was trying to defend murderers. So ultimately, we all have to live with this. And as we continue to push, remember, for our young folks, if you want to change justice systems for the better, one of the opportunities that you can have is try to promote our young people to look into being lawyers. If not lawyers, they continue to be lawyers.
We're working with that right now. Hey, Mo, he says, can you see him now on your
I
end?
can see him.
Okay, let him in. Let him in.
Okay. Give me a second.
Thank you. Let me get the other guys on here. There he is. You're looking good, champ.
What's up?
All right, that's cool. Let me get the other brothers inside of here, so I'll be working on this, okay? Bruce, this is Mo. Bruce.
What's up, bro? How you doing?
How are you, brother? We can't hear you. It's a little low.
I'm blessed. You can't hear me?
I can hear you.
You try to make this a little loud. You can hear me now, a
Okay.
little bit better now? Okay.
I can hear you now, yes.
Exactly.
It's good to connect.
Let me get some of these other guys on here.
Yep. Greetings to you, brother. How are you?
I'm blessed, man. Every day above ground is a good day, right, sir?
Yes, indeed it
Yes,
is.
sir.
And now, as I say, I add on to every day above ground and snow is even better, right?
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
I was listening to what you were saying a little bit, with the whole pandemic and everything else. And I think you was talking about one of the trials or what have you. So it was interesting. Ahmaud got some justice today. Praise God.
Yeah, there's some justice for his legacy. We still have a lot of work to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, there's a lot of work to do. The federal, got to get the federal thing popping, all of that. Civil suits,
Right.
So got to get all of that popping.
I think sometimes we as people who have been oppressed, we have gotten too comfortable at times in certain elements. We've gotten comfortable. We live in communities that we feel really comfortable in. We don't necessarily transgress upon one another, so we feel we don't do anything wrong, so we don't have to worry about it. And in situations where the communities are small, a lot of times we know each other, so the circumstances make it a little more friendly and applicable, that you can live in a peaceful neighborhood. But we've seen too many times, too many situations where people who don't live in the community that you live in, don't know who you are charged with the opportunity of judging you in a legal matter. And in those judgments, always based off of old endeavors, old agendas, old way of doing things. And at times, because the justice system is also strategic methods, sometimes they pick and choose who they want to specifically for that purpose alone. So they can continue to push the justice system in their favor, utilizing what's in front of them, which are tools. And too many of us are not equipped to defend ourselves in that, and then we're placed in a really harmful situation. It's like throwing a really small lamb in a lion's den. So we have to do what we can to keep pushing at least the conversation, so we all stay aware.
I mean, the thing is, we were socially engineered to be that way, though.
Of course.
You know, mentally, physically, spiritually, biologically, socially, chemically. You know, to keep us awake. I mean, keep us asleep. You know, and that's how it is.
I totally agree.
We've been definitely socially engineered.
Adrian and I have spoken on many times about how we have to be truthful and honest about how things are. And if you don't necessarily see that the dispositions that we live in are systemically created, so that's the only options you may look to have, then you can be sometimes misled to believe that, you know, this is what it is. And you said one thing that I know may not necessarily go across to many people as a popular thought, but you said spiritual. And I've seen that too often, how the house of the Lord has been used to make us think certain types of way and feel a certain type of way and act certain type of ways that may be actually counterproductive to our own progress as a people.
Yep. You know, the power of the few is in the acquiescence of the many, right? And if we stop acquiescing with our own enslavement, we cannot be enslaved. David Icke said that. You know, and the power is with the people. You know, the power's with the people. You know, and the Panthers told us about that eons ago, right?
Absolutely.
You know, and so, but I'm looking forward to chopping it up with you guys, and looking forward to that, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, certainly. I just get in contact with the other two individuals that will be joining us. One of them is getting ready to log on right now. The other one is on his way home from the pool hall. Apparently, he finished taking those guys' money.
Okay.
So he'll be joining us also.
Okay.
Let me take that money and then head on home. So apparently, that's what he's done. You know.
Okay.
So his name is Styles. He will be coming on here. You know, he owns his own recording studio locally. You know, and the other guy is an inventor. And so he's getting ready to log on also. You remember Mo with the hair dryer, the whole 9 yards. So, and then let George go first, Bruce. You know, and then you take it from there. You know, cut it up.
Okay.
Now I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. I don't take any of this for granted. You know, this is a good look for my movement, my Genius is Common movement, and myself in terms of branding and all of that good stuff, and just getting the message out there. That's what I'm about.
Absolutely.
You know,
Sweet.
getting that message out. So it's gonna. This is.
Hey Mo, this brother says that he has more sayings than I do. Even though every now and then he keeps cutting up one of mine. You know what I'm saying? Your network is your net worth. You remember that, Bruce?
Yeah. You gotta.
What do you label yourself as, Bruce?
I'm a master quotologist.
There it is. I never gave myself that title because you know I never thought of that.
I've been in the quote business for over 40 years, bro.
All right, so you must have a lot of them.
Yeah, the amount of quotes I have the memory is Guinness Book of Records.
Wow.
Real talk.
That's amazing.
Real talk.
Hey, now you can start quoting him now, Mo. You know what I'm saying? Bruce is
great.
I'm ready. We got the brand. We got the whole nine going, but First off, before we roll off, if anybody's just paying on right now, this is the New Norm 2.0, Mo Delgado, with my boy, my co-host Adrian on. And tonight we have the exclusive opportunity of speaking to a couple brothers about their businesses and their initiatives when talking about 2022 and beyond, what they have to offer, what they're looking to do, and how we, as a conduit of what's right and what's good, whatever we can do to help out, because ultimately we're all in this together, as we said before. So welcome to the show, my brother Bruce George.
Greetings.
I heard a little bit earlier from Adrian, as him and I was speaking, that you are somewhat of the genesis of a movement for positive change or positive development in human beings. But I wasn't being able to get the full gist of it. But now that I have the originator, the alpha of this thing, I'll just lay it in your hands. And please let us know about your initiative, brother. I appreciate you for being on the show.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, Mo Love and brother Adrian Huggins, I want to thank you for both having me on your show. I want to thank the good Lord for blessing us all to be here. I'm very excited about the fact that as a first start, Ahmaud Arbery and his family finally got some semblance of justice. And as you and I talked about earlier, it's not over. You got the federal case, and then you got the lawsuit, the civil, that we pray that it goes in their favor. So, I want to thank all of the lawyers, and everybody and all of the activists that came together, the New Black Panther Party, just everybody that came together to put pressure on the system, right? And to make the results as favorable as they have been thus far. I want to definitely send my condolences to the Sidney Poitier family. Another legend has transitioned.
Yeah.
Peter said it best: to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. So,
Correct.
he's transitioned. He might have transitioned, but his work continues, and it's going to live on. So I just want to definitely send my condolences to him and his family. A little bit about myself. I'm a lover of God, child of God. My work is my ministry. Hold on for 1 second. I'm a lover of God. My work is my ministry. I'm a social activist. I was born in Harlem, raised in the Bronx. I lived in Brooklyn for over 15 years. I'm a New Yorker to the umpteenth percentile. I'm right brain and left brain, but I'm classic right brain.
Right.
I specialize in psychology, philosophy, classic literature, neurolinguistic programming, metaphysics, body language, the law of attraction. I specialize in power. I'm a wordsmith, word engineer, and a master quotologist, among other things. And my Genius is Common movement got started from one of my quotes, because I would go around the country and I would ask the youth, when you hear the word genius, what image comes to mind? And they would always say Einstein or a light bulb. And every now and then I would get a Jordan, and that troubled me. And I said, you know what? Let me write a quote about that. And the quote is, notwithstanding Einstein, genius is common. Then that turned into the slogan, Genius is Common, which turned into an entire movement. As we speak, we have a presence in all 50 states, 15 countries with 32 ambassadors and growing. Kid you not. We have a presence in Jamaica, Barbados, Ghana, Kenya, Dubai, Norway, Nigeria, the UK, Canada, the Bahamas, St. Lucia. We're about to have a presence in the Dominican Republic and Panama. You're talking to the head honcho. I run everything and own everything. I own the trademark, own the copyright, and I'm the only Facebook group administrator because you have to keep this close to the belt. One of my claim to fame is being the founder of Def Poetry Jam on HBO with Russell Simmons. One of the co-founders. I'm one of the co-founders. Deborah Pointers, one of the co-founders. Danny Simmons, one of the co-founders. We wound up getting a Peabody Award for 6 seasons on HBO and a Tony Award for the Broadway version. And I was the town executive at HBO and executive consultant to the Broadway show, and the rest, as they say, is history. So as far as my Genius is Common movement goes, it's a movement that basically is about taking the elitism out of the word genius. We're the first movement to let the world know that the true origin of the word genius doesn't just apply to intellect, right? Even Einstein said we're all geniuses. And if you were to judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it would spend its whole life believing that it's stupid. The philosopher Buckminster Fuller said that every child is born a genius, but the process of life de-geniuses them. The German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer said that talent hits a target that no one else can hit, but genius is a target that no one else can see. So we're the first movement to let the world know that the true origin of the word genius comes from the word genie, out of northern Africa, not ancient Rome. And the genie is the guiding tutelary spirit within each of us. So the genius in us is the genie in us, and the genie in us is the God in us we've been lied to. So Mo Love, I don't proselytize, bro. I just tell people we all have a genius seed, right? Some call it God, some call it source energy. And those that believe in God, I take them back to the etymology and I say, let's look at the word genie and Genesis. Genesis is the beginning. God is the Alpha and the what? Omega, right?
Correct.
Look at the word genie and your genes. Your genes is your whole makeup of who you are. So the cat is out the bag and the jig is up. We're the first movement to take the elitism out of the word genius. Thus, we are an anti-elitist movement. And we're the first and only YouTube video-based movement on the planet. We have very heavily celebrity endorsed. We have 81 celebrities that did Genius is Coming videos. 81. And A-listers and B-listers. And we're about to break mainstream any day, hour, a month now, like Black Lives Matter, the Me Too movements, respectively. And we have a video from Tarana Burke, who created the Me Too movement. And Barbara, who's the co-founder of Black Girls Rock, she's going to do one as well. So I'm excited to be here, open to questions or whatever you want to talk about, politics, whatever you want to talk about. You know, let's get it in.
Let's get it on, folks.
I love
Yes,
it.
sir.
I love it. Bruce, I appreciate you, man. You just mentioned a couple things that brought back some memories, man.
Okay.
Me too, man. I'm telling you, the brother's deep.
Appreciate it.
University in '89, and I spent a lot of time in Harlem. I spent a lot of time in East Village at the New York Poets Cafe.
Yes, sir.
I'm familiar with some of the people in the whole movement, man, all the way around, man. I'm a member of the Near Force in North. You know.
Okay, that's what's up.
Part of the group of New Black Panther Party. So
okay.
I'm with the movement, man. I'm with it.
I love it. And you know, the thing is, you know, I've been an activist ever before it was fashionable to be one.
Right.
You know, and you know, I mean, you got the bandwagoners that's coming on board, and everybody's raising their fists and you know, and bragging about getting arrested. But you know, I'm not mad at that. I mean, the thing is, it's about you being true to what you're about, because service is the rent you pay for being on earth.
That's
You
right.
know, Ozzie Davis said it best. He said, being an African American, however, implies that something at the core of your existence is in crisis mode or will be at some point in life. He's also said all struggles between the power to resist and the power to oppress. So you cannot retire from struggle.
Right.
You know that, right? So we always have to stay on this war footing. And you and I talked about this, Mo Love, at the beginning before we went live, that a lot of us have fallen asleep at the wheel. We get kind of comfortable in our uncomfortability, you know, and we, like I said to you earlier, we were socially engineered to be that way. Biologically, psychologically, chemically, interpersonally, socially, you know, institutionally, you know, and a lot of us forget that fact, you know, and we just think that this thing just happened to us out of a vacuum. I mean, look at this whole pandemic, right? You know, this whole scandemic. All of this is not our first rodeo.
Scamdemic.
You know, this is not our first rodeo.
Not at all.
You know, they did it with AIDS, they did it with Ebola, they did it with syphilis, they did it with all of these different types of biological weapons. And then when I speak like this, then they use the conspiracy word, right? Which was created by the CIA, by the way. You know, then I'm a conspiracy theorist, right? This is some conspiracy theorist. No, it's not, because this is something that is well documented with the Freedom of Information Act. Just look up MK Ultra, right? And look up Operation Paperclip, right? In terms of how the government used chemicals in the United States on our own people, right? In the train system of New York, they used chemicals to test how it would affect people. That's Operation Paperclip, right? The Nuremberg trials, right? World War II, Germany. From the Nuremberg trials came the Nuremberg Code, right? What do? We wind up getting those German scientists in the United States, using them, that work with the Nazis, killing off Jews, and using them to get their information so they could use it on our own people. People that were homeless, people that were married that weren't married, that were out of wedlock, people that had that were in mental institutions. All of those different things was used in the United States against their own people, right? So chemtrails and all of that is not anything new. You know, and they do this in plain sight because they know they can get away with it.
I've
Right.
gotten into, I've gotten, and I'm sorry, you will continue.
No, go ahead, go ahead. I'm listening to you.
I was going to say, being as active as we are, in the modern day world today, you have individuals constantly beating at your head, talking about, oh, well, conspiracy theories are this way, you're crazy and lunatic, what have you. It's difficult sometimes as an active person who's conscious to see all these things and listens to these things and not necessarily give it its credibility, not to give it its credence, because it makes sense. It's factual. You have all the evidence that's proving to you this way, but you hold on to the fallacies that you've been comfortable with. And that's the society that we've had today, in my opinion, has a tendency of looking for what's comfortable. And sometimes they're in their comfort. They don't mind being deaf, dumb, and blind because there's always going to be somebody next to them. And they need to be amongst others more than they are willing to stand out. So, you know what I'm saying? So we are led to believe that we are still that herd mentality. That was the discussion about
the herd mentality.
Herd and herding. And I said this before. That term right there was troubling because that was tossed around like crazy, and to me made no sense. But it was a conscious effort. They were letting us know in one aspect using that type of term because they thought it was okay to say these things and not like they don't have to be accountable for these things. No, they say exactly what they mean. If you're listening to them, if you pay attention to them, they're telling you exactly what it is. As they, we like to always say, people show you who they are. People will tell you who they are, but folks don't want to listen.
Exactly.
And they don't want to account for what they see because they always think, well, no, they can't be. Oh, no, they wouldn't be. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, absolutely they are.
For a second, gentlemen, because we have another gentleman on the side here. We need to introduce him also, Mo. We want to get everybody here in the mix, okay? So that's what we're doing here tonight. So you got Martin right here. Bruce, Martin, Bruce.
What's up, Martin?
So please.
Bruce, nice to meet you,
Salute.
bro.
Nice to meet you as well, my brother.
I gotta ask your forgiveness, bros. I didn't end up making it home in time. So right now I'm in my F-150.
It's all good.
Southern Cadillac.
As long as you sleep.
The lighting isn't excellent, but it's adequate.
Nice.
So,
that's what it's all about, bro. We appreciate you.
As long as
but look, brother Bruce, I'm sitting here listening to you, and I'm getting the urge to take notes.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
This gentleman right here is a genius in common by himself. He's an inventor. He invented. Tell us about the product there, Martin. Tell him.
Okay, well, thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Mo. Good seeing you two brothers. I see the New Year's treating both of you well.
God is good.
And look, hey, bro, Bruce, we're about to change the world of hair and beauty. Look,
yes, sir.
Black folks back in the day, the first self-made female millionaire in American history was who? Madam C.J. Walker. And she was sold to former slaves and sharecroppers. But we're not slaves and sharecroppers anymore. But what's happened to our hair and beauty industry? We got Korean and Chinese companies with beauty supply warehouses that are put up in our communities. And the only things we get out of it are a couple jobs slightly above minimum wage. And the rest of that revenue leaves our community.
Correct.
And then you consider the fact that 12 or 13% of the U.S. population is Black. And then half of that are women. And women control 90% of the hair and beauty purchases, or most purchases in the Black community. But yet and still, that half of that 12 or 13%, that 6% of Black women make up 30% of all hair and beauty purchases in the country. They outsell they displace their actual number in the metrics by a 5-to-1 ratio. That's why you see Queen Latifah and Halle Berry on those Revlon and MAC commercials. Not because they love them, but because they love the money they represent.
Well, exactly.
And what's going on? We're taking our hair and beauty dollars, which was foundational, and we were in control of it 100 years ago, and now it doesn't even touch our community, and it's really ridiculous. And I've got something that can really change the game.
I
I got
love
a
it.
hooded hair dryer that I created. I'm sure Mo and Adrian can see the videos, but we changed the way hair is dried using hooded hair dryers.
Mm,
And what we do is we allow hair to dry faster, and because it dries faster, it reduces the amount of time hair is exposed to heat, which
mm,
makes it healthier. So um, I'm sure you're aware of Bronner Brothers
mm-hmm,
in Atlanta, the hair and beauty company.
mm-hmm.
I tested with Stephanie Bronner, and the model we use normally takes 2 hours and 10 or 15 minutes to get her hair dry. I got her done with upflow technology and the momentum dryer in 55 minutes.
Mm, mm.
That's actually, if you compare it to 2 hours and 10 minutes, that's a 58% reduction in drying time.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, extrapolate that and imagine in a professional setting how many more people on a regular basis, on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, how much
Mm-hmm.
more revenue can a professional make if they're able to serve their clients faster, more healthy, and more comfortable?
That's
The way
right.
the concept works, it allows someone to use the product and breathe fresh air while they're getting their hair dried. And because it reduces the amount of time hair is exposed to heat, it's a healthier option for the user. So right now, what I'm doing right now, Mo already knows about this, and so does Adrian. We're putting together a crowdfunding campaign, and I'm getting ready to drop it in the next couple months. I got to finish the video, hopefully by the end of this month. But
Well,
I'm getting ready to
count my
show.
movement behind you 190%.
That's right.
When
Oh
you
yeah,
get that,
absolutely.
when you get the flyer for that, when you launch that campaign, let me know, and Adrian will let me know when it's launched, let me know, and I'll run that through my machine, right? We have a products and services page on our website.
Yeah.
We have on our website, I'll put that even on the homepage of geniusescommon.com's website. It's
Oh yeah, I was checking out your
geniusescommon.com.
website. I was checking
Yeah,
out your website. It's golden. It's
appreciate
golden.
that. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have that go
Absolutely.
on the homepage, and then I'm gonna let it come off my desk. I'm like E.F. Hutton. When I speak, a lot of people listen. So that's something that, by God's grace, so that's something that I would love to be behind to really
Well, you
push
know
that
what?
out
I
there.
I heard a lot about you, and you got a lot of nice elbows to rub if the rubbing is called for.
I
So
appreciate that.
yeah,
Appreciate
let's
that.
rub some elbows and give
Absolutely.
some demonstration. See,
Done.
here's the one
Done.
thing about it. Oh yeah. Hey, look, I'll tell you this. Right now, I'm in Jackson, Mississippi,
Okay.
and down south, it's a quite different dynamic when it comes to money, revenue, investment, and things of that matter. But
Mhm.
Hmm.
you know, everything is going to have a cost to bear that goes along with it.
That's
But the
right.
one thing I can tell you is that if you imagine a product that could come in and revolutionize the market on a worldwide basis, imagine doing to countertop grills what the Foreman grill did to those regular grills that you normally find in back in the day. You used to find it in Sears and Kmart to repopulate half the hooded hair dryers across the globe with new products that's healthier, faster, more comfortable. I believe it's something that's going to be in the order of magnitude of billions, and not
Of
just
course it is.
not just
Yeah.
Of course
millions.
it is. And let me say this to you. Let me
Well,
say this to you real quick. I'm going to connect you with Ray Mapp. I have 32 ambassadors within my Geniuses Common movement. 32. I mentored every last one of my ambassadors. Right? Ray Mapp is our Black inventor historian ambassador to the Geniuses Common movement. I'm gonna get you on one of his posters, bro. He's gonna have you on one of his
Okay.
Black inventor posters
Okay.
with the type of invention that you've invented when you're ready for that. I'll connect you with
All
Ray
right.
Mapp. He's
Cool.
from North Carolina. And
Okay.
get you on the Black inventor poster with the 200 plus other Black inventors.
Awesome.
We've invented everything
All
on the
right. Cool.
planet. Come on now, we've
That's
invented
right.
everything on the planet.
That's right.
And then what did the Greeks do? Oh, we didn't steal it. We perfected it. Give me a
Right.
break.
Oh no, hey,
Give me a break with
cotton
that
gin
nonsense.
and look, from cotton gins to peanut butter sandwiches, everything been
Yes.
taken from us.
Yeah,
Yes. Everything's been taken from us.
yeah.
I mean, the Kabbalah, you know. I mean, even with the
Oh
Kabbalah, you know, in Egypt,
Science of
right?
numerology,
They
right?
got everything from us. They came on their knees. They were called neophytes. They came on their knees just to get that knowledge, you know, from Hermes, from Hermes, and so Hermes rather. And so,
Hermes.
hermetically, when you say something is hermetically sealed, that's
Mm-hmm.
Hermes, right? The father
True that.
of astrology, the father of knowledge, right? So they got all of that from us. So Black inventors, this is
Yeah.
what we do. So I'm gonna
Very
definitely
much
connect
so.
some dots between you
That's right.
and Ray Mapp. That's gonna be a good look.
That's right. It's
Oh,
proof.
Yes,
absolutely.
sir.
Looking forward to it.
Yes,
Proof
sir.
at the
But see, we
college.
need brothers like this, like Adrian and Mo, that are eagles, that are condors, the ones that soar up high and look
Yes,
down
sir.
low and try to show us on the ground what's really above the trees. So we
That's
need
right.
brothers like this to help put us together. Because I never would know anything about you if it wasn't for these two brothers,
Amen.
giving
Amen.
us a chance to talk.
Amen. Amen.
I run
Amen.
across so many important people, but a lot of people just don't get the time and the attention needed. So what I
Mm-hmm.
try to do is to, like I said, the network is your net worth.
Right.
There's many people out here that are just wanting to be, Hispanic and Black, and many people that just need to come together. Forget about all the hate and animosity and stuff. Let's pull it together. We
Mm-hmm.
need to get it together. That's the only way we're going to survive through all this. When I met Bruce, I asked Bruce, I said, Bruce, you're talking to a salesman, and I know I feel you, everything that you're saying, because, I have my own saying, and Mo knows that also. You know what I'm saying? Like the grass isn't always green over the septic tank. We're all familiar with that one.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And it just goes on and
Exactly.
on. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then when Bruce came along, and he started, I'm a quotologist. I says, yo, I've been doing this for like as far as I know, because it goes back into the Bible. Right?
Yes.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
I could quote 20. We could do this 24 hours a day. The grass. Yo, listen to this. The grass may seem greener on the other side, right?
You know,
But their fertilizer is as toxic as their lives,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the grass may seem green on the other side, but their fertilizer is as toxic as their lives,
just
And
like
so,
that old saying, you could, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, but you teach a man how to fish, and that's what I'm doing right here. You feed him for
absolutely,
life, and that's what it's about,
absolutely,
because that's
yeah,
the only
that's
way we're going
exactly
to
what it's
spread the
about.
word.
Yes,
I've
sir.
always said the original man has a natural compass. If
Mm.
we allow
Mm.
our third eye to be open, we will find one another, because it's the inertia that brings us together. There's circumstance, like all things that are around, as in circum, meaning the word meaning ground. The
Mhm.
circumstance that we're in right now is we're standing together as original men,
Mhm.
talking about something that we know can motivate the world.
Mhm.
So
The
as
thing is,
in inertia,
like is drawn to like. Like is drawn to like. Opposites don't attract. That's in
right?
chemistry, not in
Absolutely.
human relationships,
But
right?
get a load of
I
this
mean,
one also, because like it
yeah,
says, the reason why God made the world round is because what goes around comes around. That's the
mm,
reason why. In
mm,
actuality, everything in life has a circle one way or another to it.
And
Like
if
right
it's
mhm,
behind you,
all the hell off,
look at it right over your shoulder. You see that circle right over there? It looks like a sun or something right over your shoulder.
mhm.
So
And you know what,
everything go.
Adrian? Look, I gotta say one thing. I got a great pastor that I listen to, and he said, you know what? They were discussing why is the Earth round, talking about that flat Earth idea, and they said, well, you know what? The reason Earth is round is because at no point, at some point, everyone's going to be going to sleep. Somebody's going to be saying their prayers at some point. Okay,
Mm.
so there's not one moment of the day where God isn't receiving His praise.
That's
You know what I
right.
Amen.
mean?
Yes.
He
I
said he
like
said
that. I
that's
like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
yeah.
I mean, the thing is, we're in the age of the Aquarius. The last should be first, and the first should be last.
Correct.
And they know that. The so-called powers that be know it,
Yeah.
right? And so when they start talking about how we're inferior, but who's disappearing though, right? Who's the ones that's disappearing? Like
Not us.
riddle me that, right? So not to mention melanin, 6 parts proton, 6 parts neutron, 6 parts electron, 666 carbon melanin, which is a polymer,
Hit him.
right?
Hit
So
him.
don't get us started. Don't get us started.
Brothers
Tell
dropping
him.
the
The sign
knowledge.
of the devil's what?
Come on,
Yeah,
come
that's
on.
right.
Don't get us
What's the
started.
sign of the devil? That's right. That's right.
Don't get us
You know
started.
what I'm saying? And so who's disappearing?
Speak it.
So
That's right.
so then you get Pat Buchanan, who writes a book called The Death of the West, which is a rallying call for them to like, yo, you need to get it
White supremacy.
popping because we are disappearing. And that's why you get a lot of xenophobia around the world. It's an uptick of xenophobia because the world is getting blacker and blacker and blacker and browner and browner and browner. And not only that, people are also starting to come into the God within them, right?
That's right.
So that's what they took prayer out of school, not just because of political reasons, because of energy reasons. Because when you pray and you meditate, you raise your vibration, right? And that's the so-called Rhonda Burns, the secret. Ain't no damn secret, right? When you raise your vibration, there's the God in us, right? Luke 17:21 said, neither low here nor low there, for behold, the kingdom of God is within you.
That's right.
In Genesis, we created them in our own image. In Psalms, ye are gods with a little g, right? 1 Corinthians 3:16, know ye not that ye are the temple of God and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you, right? When you look at the universe, you have the universe, one verse, you have the universe and the universe. And the same 4 elements that's in the universe, hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, right? You know, all of those is hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, is nitrogen, oxygen, carbon, and hydrogen.
Right.
It's the same elements that's in us. The 4 elements that's in us is the same thing that's in the universe. The same thing that's in the outer verse is the same thing that's in the universe. It's one and one, you know. And when you get into the Kabbalah, right, it's all one. Night, day, hate, love, peace, war. It's all one. They're different in degree, not in kind. So it's that oneness that they want us to stay away from, right? The whole is greater than the sums of its parts. That wasn't a Gestaltian principle. That was an Afrocentric principle, and it was a humanistic principle. It was a natural law principle and a spiritual law that the whole is greater than the sums of its parts. That wasn't a Gestaltian principle. They know
Bruce,
that.
Not only that,
Bruce,
because life itself as we know it was created on the eastern coast of Africa. That's where life was actually, first created, and everything migrated from that point forward, going, across the glaciers and across the ice, and that's how we have everything else.
Broke apart. We know how Asia Minor.
It started on life as we know it.
Right.
Started on the eastern coast of Africa. That's where. And that's the reason why you have so many black people, because a lot of people stayed there, but a lot migrated into other parts of the world, walking across the ice and the glaciers. That's what was happening.
Yes, sir.
At one time,
Bruce,
everything was connected, all of the land.
That's right.
And Bruce, look, I gotta say, you really inspired me and made me think about something that, down south, we're here in the Bible Belt, and we try to hold up for that. But I would just. Oh yeah, for sure. But the one thing I will say is, in the Bible in Genesis, it says on the 4th day, God made the sun, moon, and stars. But on the 1st day, He said, "Let there be light." Now you know what? After this broadcast is over, let's talk about where that light came from on the 1st day. I believe that's something that you would be very interested in. That's something I actually spent a lot of time studying. Like Brother Adrian and Mo know, the name of my company is Quantum Flow Inc. That's because I sort of have a fascination with quantum physics and stuff like that. Long story short, if you can prove God right, then you're how my check mark is.
So, absolutely. And I love quantum physics, by the way. I love quantum physics. The wave and the particle. The wave dictates the particle. But they don't want you to know that the wave is spirit, right? They don't want you to know that the wave is spirit. And that's why Pierre de Chardin, the French philosopher Pierre de Chardin said it best. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. Dr. Wayne Dyer said it's not the notes that makes the music. It's the silence in between the notes that makes the music. Van Zandt said in Acts of Faith, you attract who and what is on your ray. And Esther Hicks says you attract by your vibrational countenance, right?
Oh yeah.
So you get a lot of pastors, you get a lot of bishops. Nobody's off the hook. You get a lot of pastors and bishops. They don't want to reveal that truth.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know it.
They're guarding us because they want their flock to rely upon them. You know, that's why I wrote a quote. I said, when churches become concerts, pastors will become ticket masters. You feel me? And so the thing about it, bro, is it's one of those things where it's like, yo, they do not want you to know about that God in you. No, stay attached to me. Stay under my tutelage so I can separate you from your money, so I can keep you in a certain place. And that's not all churches, but a lot of churches are like that. You know what I mean? You get a lot of churches that they start out Pentecost. And then when it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, they no longer speak in tongues because they don't want to offend the money people. You got pastors that are checking people's tax returns so they can dictate to them how much they should tithe. That's a problem.
The system of control that organized religion has always been.
Always
totally
been.
About control, about economic and political control. It's never really been about faith. Faith has always been a vehicle, and they never really taught faith. They tell you that you need to study based on what they want to teach you, but they never ask you, where do you want to go, and never give you a chance for you to blossom, to learn from within where true faith is generated. They never need you as a developing person, that light from within you to come out. And once you get that awakening, that knowledge of self, you'll see past all this nonsense. You'll see what it is. And you can live peacefully across the table from all these devils. Because you know inherently where God lives.
Absolutely.
So, let me interrupt you for a second, Mo, because earlier I kind of heard you when you was talking about, oh, those people were getting paid by the government, whatever. Let me tell you something. Over 1 million plus people have passed away from this pandemic. Okay, the assets to many of these people are not going to go to the family members. It's going to go to the government. A lot of the restitution in reference to slavery from many, many years ago and what they've done to Black people, the Indians, and many of the other cultures. Do you think the government, other than the Japanese back in the 1990s, when they actually give them a form of restitution, but correct, but today a lot of these guys are still looking for some type of payment. And they're like, the government is like, oh, we're never going to pay these Black people for all of the stuff that we've done for them, have them build America. But when you look at the insurrection, it isn't the Black people that was trying to tear America down. It was the white Caucasian individuals they said about 2 people from Delaware, about 26 people from New Jersey, 22 people were at the Capitol trying to tear that building down and blow it up. It wasn't the people that built it. It was the people that occupied it that was trying to destroy it. Okay, come on. You see, so when everybody's talking about, oh yeah, the government is giving away all of this money to the people, they're only giving away the money that your ancestors never got, and they still owe more. So when people are telling me that nonsense, I'm like, miss me with the bullshit. Because basically that's what it really boils down to. When the government is giving you back stuff, they got a plan to take it back somewhere and somehow. Because it goes out the other hand. Let me say something real quick. Because they're jacking up the taxes. Now the government came back and it says, hey, all of the small businesses, if you're actually paying people $600 or more, we're going to have PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App report you to the IRS so we could go and get your taxes. You see what I'm saying? And you would have to pay. So nothing in this country is free. If you think it's free, you're dumb. That's all it is. Right. You're dumb.
Let me pose this question to you, gentlemen, because I know this topic is starting to arise, which is reparations.
Correct.
We're talking about the sense of reparations. What is your opinion? Should we get the 40 acres and a mule or equivalent? Or do you think there's another option that could be equivalent to the asset value of it that could benefit people of color to this day? Black people of color, descendants of
this one guy.
That's a good question. We should get more than 40 acres in the mule for one. And I want to definitely shout out. I want to shout out N-Cobra. N-Cobra has been doing an amazing job in reference to reparations. So I definitely need to shout out N-Cobra. They definitely have been doing an amazing job with reparations. I mean, the United States already paid reparations out to the Jews, so-called Jews. They've already paid the Japanese.
Correct.
They've already paid Native Americans. Some Native
And then
Americans got reparations. The Indians,
Mhm.
you know, what have you. And we're always in typical fashion at the bottom of the totem pole.
Right.
But we definitely need to push the envelope and continue to press on in reference to reparations. It should be reparations in terms of not just in terms of like a certain amount of money, but access to the digital divide. We should be able to also have our homes with equipment that we need for internet access, access to institutions, access to information, a lot of different things we need to be included in, because there's a quote in terms of power, definition of power. One definition is the ability to include or exclude, right? So it's about inclusion, right? Inclusion. We should have legislation passed that's going to benefit so-called people of color, right? So legislatively, things need to be to move legislatively. They need to move monetarily. We need to have reparations monetarily, legislatively, in so many different ways, not just one way. So I think it's a combination of a lot of different ways where we need to be get those reparations to come our way.
Martin, what do you think?
oh, well, unfortunately, I understand exactly what you're saying. Of course, the justification is absolutely there, but unfortunately, given the reality of where we are and the way Black people, we're no longer the dominant minority in this country.
Mm.
We have been supplanted, and all of our efforts all of our efforts that we put forward have been working against ourselves. I think the best thing we could hope for will be a level playing field, because I know, just like your parents, my parents, and our grandparents, all we have to do is do what we've always done, which is work twice as hard as the next person, and then we can succeed. But I mean, look, Bruce, you already know I'm with you on everything you said. But the reality of it, I wouldn't bet a nickel on it. See, look, that's why I'm working on my product. Okay. See, this here, the thing is, look, as far as imagine, think about salons. There are over 420,000 salons in America. There are 3.5 million salons in India. There are over 400,000 salons in Europe. There are millions of salons worldwide. And each one of those salons is a small business. If I can give like, let's just say a stylist can see an extra 2 people a day. If your average customer is $80, well, that's $160 a day. And you work 5 days a week, that's $800. Four weeks a month, that's $3,200 a month. That's almost $40,000 a year if you're working like that. But just to think of it like that, each one of those stylists that purchases new products or whatever, they're an independent business. They're a family. Each one of those purchases goes to a family or an individual, and we're going to be able to increase their profitability to where they go. They don't just make more money every week, every month, every year. They can go to a next tax bracket. The thing is, I'm sick of depending on government. Okay, when I talked about Madam C.J. Walker, she was selling to former slaves and sharecroppers. And now, look, 100 years later, we got Korean companies, and nothing against Korean or Chinese people or whatever. But unfortunately, the game must be played. And unfortunately, Black folks, we have gotten our ass played. Bottom line, we got our ass played, and we're still getting our ass played.
Yeah, but
Okay,
the thing is, I mean, cut your wisdom, but the thing is, this is not about relying upon government. What I was saying is, those are just some of the ways that we
Oh,
should
no,
be
no, no, you're
compensated.
absolutely right.
But the main thing is about agitating the system, right? That the system is not as strong and resilient as they would want or lead you to believe. That's why Miri Baraka said it best. He said, "Write like fists." Michel Foucault said, "Knowledge is made for cutting." Frederick Douglass said, "Agitate, agitate, agitate," right? So the power, and the Panther Party said it best, the power is with the people. And so when the people agitate and they come together, and we are unifying a lot more than the elite media would lead you or mislead you into believing, right?
Absolutely.
That people are unifying around the world now more than ever. We are in the age of the Aquarius, where the first should be last and the last should be first. Why do you think the system is working so hard now to suppress us? Because they're losing grip. They're losing grip in
It's
terms of
obvious.
the herdism, right? You know, Noam Chomsky, the herdism. You know, Mo Love was talking about herdism. You know, you got William Cooper talking about the notion of sheeple. What's happening is that the thread is starting to come apart at the seams, and they
You
know
know,
it.
something, Bruce. The thing about it is, I've always said the system isn't broke. Everybody said the system is
It's,
broke.
it's,
It's
it's
not
working
broke.
exactly the way it's supposed to work.
It's fixed. The
Yeah,
system isn't broke. It's fixed.
it's working exactly the way it's supposed to work.
Of course, exactly right. So when people are
Exactly.
talking about restitutions, reparations and things of that nature, and like the government, remember the majority of the company that made out during this pandemic was the small businesses. It was Amazon. It was Comcast. It was the mega companies that became. That's the reason why they were able to build rockets to go up to space and celebrate because we've done it. We've look at Tesla. That guy's becoming the first trillionaire, is what
Mhm.
they're actually talking about now. So it
Elon
wasn't
Musk.
the small businesses.
Absolutely.
It was the big businesses that made out like a bandit. The post office, FedEx, all
Exactly.
these guys.
Exactly.
They made out.
Exactly.
So when people are saying, oh yeah, like Mark just mentioned, we're not dependent on government. Hell with that. That's the reason why they said government was made up by the people for the people, and it's
Mm,
written that way. You see what
mm.
I'm saying? But the
Let me
government
Yeah.
never really represented the people fully. They've
let me
represented major corporations. Is
let
what they
me add
represent.
something, if I may, and please forgive me for interrupting.
Nah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I want us to look at things, or in my perspective, life is like a lane, a 4-lane road. We have to pick a lane in what we're rolling into. As long as we're moving forward, we won't ever cause a chaos and stop anyone else from evolving or moving forward. There is a lane, a specific lane dealing with the government that needs to get fortified. We need to keep pumping funds, opportunity, and education and young soldiers into that to keep pushing the gates and knocking them gates down for opportunities and access as far as the
Yes,
government's
sir.
concerned.
Absolutely, we need
We
that.
also have to empower the entrepreneurs and small business minded individuals
Correct.
to keep and create the economy that we need for ourselves and independence, having our
True.
own reliance in our economy.
Exactly.
Individual, and also we have to have a lane for having our scholars, our educational foundation that helps
That's
us
right.
develop the strategies so the younger soldiers out here who may not be inept or capable of understanding that can actually execute the plans necessary. So we all have lanes in what we need to. What we
hmm
can't do is we can't as a people think that one is going to be better than the other. Ultimately,
Absolutely.
they're all key of the flow that we need to. When this stream of evolvement, when it comes to our people in this place of where we are right now, we have to do what we can to repair ourselves internally as a community, as a people, as individuals, because a lot of us are hurt people. A lot of us are carrying a lot of baggage that we understand. However,
hmm
we're built stronger, we're built better, and we can deal with things a lot more than some others can because we've been through eons of stress and hardships anyway.
Exactly.
We're champions as it is.
Amen.
Amen.
So, with all that being said, I want people to understand that we're capable, we're able. If you give us the access that we're due, we're going to go beyond what you ever considered doing and make it even better. But the one thing that folks forget about is that we're a caring people.
hmm
You haven't seen anyone in on the continent of Africa being a destroying force, a warrior, without at least giving you an opportunity to become part of that tribe or that family.
hmm
We've never been one to want to kill and eradicate anyone because we know in the presence of man and understand how God is, there's a use and a presence and existence in God in everyone. It's important for them to be acknowledged and give you an opportunity before you see death. I want you to live the way you should be, and you could be living side by side as my brother.
hmm
And we've always done as a people. Our society, what we're living in today, is counterproductive. That's why we have so much chaos. It's always been pushing us to be hateful to one another, always trying to say black against white, short hair against long hair, straight hair against curly hair, New Yorkers against people down south. It's always a us versus them because divide and to conquer. A
hmm
strategy that Hannibal was able to execute in his whole thing about building our armies to dismantle using Sun Tzu's strategies of war. If you dismantle the mind, you dismantle the soldier. And to dismantle the soldier means you've empowered your opponent. So it's important that we got to understand how we're playing into this role. And I celebrate everyone who understands their role, man, because it's important. We got to support each other.
What's happening now in terms of the zeitgeist is people are a lot more woke than the elite media would believe you or have you think they are. We are a lot more woke now. We are more woke now than we've ever been. And this is because of the fact that the devil's time been up. Ain't no, he just, no. Why you think he's fighting so hard? His time has been up. It's not about to be up. No, it's been up, right? And that's why people are coming out of the woodwork. You got geniuses all around the world studying the Kabbalah, studying metaphysics, studying how to raise your vibration, getting into yoga, getting into meditation in droves. And what's happening in terms of the Sherman, if you look up the Sherman resonance in terms of the vibration of the world, it is off the Richter right now, off the Richter scale in terms of our level of vibration. So things are on the move. And Aquarius, we're in the age of the Aquarius, where the first would be last and the last would be first. So what's happening is that the world is rotating now in a way where we're on a vibrational pull. And I think Capricorn is in moon right now, off the Richter, and the so-called powers that be are bugging. If you do your research, you'll see a lot of CEOs are quitting their jobs.
Yeah, they
a
are.
lot of CEOs are quitting in droves. Am I right or wrong, Mo Love? Why is that?
Yeah.
Why is that? Why is that? And why are they talking about going to other planets, bro? Okay, Elon Musk and all of that space exploration, that wasn't about no damn taking samples to bring back to the Earth. No, that was about getting the hell out of here.
Yeah, that's right. You know what I'm saying? They've pillaged the community, and now it's time to bail. That's all it really boils down to.
It's bailing. They bailing.
And like I said, all of these guys build their own spaceships and rockets, like I said, to go up into outer space or get there to celebrate. There's a reason, because they know what's happening down here. The people are suffering.
There was a film.
But hey, look,
there was a film in China that was released talking about space truckers. That was released talking about the specific thing. And it was crazy because the whole cast, you have a multicultural cast, and it's a Chinese movie. But the villainess was a blonde-haired man who was a super wealthy individual that worked with technology. And his whole plan was to create the image that there's a better atmosphere off the Earth because the Earth is dying. And because everyone else wasn't knowing that he had access to and had created the terra planning on
terraforming.
Right, terraforming technology to help clear the Earth. He wasn't. He was letting it die so he can pick and choose who was good enough to rise up. So with use that being said, you had Jeff Bezos, you had my man from Virgin Atlantic. All these individuals are super wealthy.
Bronson.
Their interest is we got to be on Mars. We got to get off this planet. Really?
Everybody got a rocket.
And let me tell you something. And you know what? And then we're going, no matter where they go, we go. And guess what? Pluto is going to be the ghetto of the universe.
Exactly.
Because it's the smallest planet. That's going to be the cheapest. That's going to be the cheapest to go to is Pluto. Because it's the smallest, the so-called ghetto. So Pluto is going to be the ghetto, so-called ghetto, which is a German word, of the galaxies. They're going to get the Mars, and they're going to get that for themselves. And it's going to be cheaper flights to go to Pluto, and it's going to be more expensive to go to Mars and Mercury and what have you, where they really want to go. That's the prime real estate. You feel me?
But here's the thing that people ain't going to recognize. We already have access to go back to Sirius. We already know about Orion. We already know that because we're connected with them. We're intrinsically connected. Our genetics are connected all the way from the designation of where it is, how the polar north is, the sun, everything. They're not talking about that because they can't go there. We can go there. They can't go there. So they're going to go somewhere else and making it seem like we're lost in it. And all of a sudden, when those aliens return, it'll be home base for us because when they did come here, where did they come? They came to our areas. Our ancestors are the ones working with them. Sound the energy of the technology of sound was harnessed because someone came out and had the science and technology to teach us. They didn't all of a sudden create these pyramids using 100 million people. Nah, they used sound. Sound is what? Vibration, energy. We're talking about sound and vibration in the age of Aquarian now because what we're learning and relearning what we already knew ahead of time. We knew it for eons.
Eons, we knew this. And the thing about it is, it's a paradigm shift that's happening in the world.
Absolutely.
And when you have the less melanin you have, the more affected you are by it vibrationally. And that's why they are not able to reproduce. That's why they are disappearing off the planet. That's why they are recessive and not dominant. And that's why that's why the planet is getting black and black and black and browner and browner and browner, right? And that's exactly what's going on around the globe.
But you know something also there, Bruce, because Billy Joel said it best. We didn't start the fire. The fire's been burning since the world started turning. You know, that's what it really boils down to. You know, we didn't start this fire. All of the pollution that you said. I remember this one comedian, you know, that told Richard Pryor. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he says, you know, a lot of people are talking about, you know, all of the oil spill and all this stuff has been going on for many, many years before we were even born. You go to McDonald's these days, they give you a paper cup with a paper straw. You know what I'm saying? Because they're trying to save the planet. Is it really about saving the planet, or is it more about making money? I think it's more about making money because remember,
of course, it's always.
In order, when you make the plastic is one thing, but when you make the paper straw, the paper cup, you're cutting down trees, and trees are actually, for the environment with oxygen. Trees.
That's where we get the ozone layer. The ozone layer is depleted. Global warming that they're in denial about. But the thing is, don't forget the fact that right now, people are in droves going from 3D consciousness and dimension to 4D. And that's what's happening. So when you look at the Matrix, right, Morpheus and Neo, right, more people are starting to take the red pill as opposed to the blue pill, and they don't want you to know that. So people are not going down the rabbit hole like they were before. They're dealing in reality. They're going in from that 3 dimension to the 4D dimension. And the 5th dimension that's Christ consciousness.
Right, exactly.
Right? Christ was 5D. Right? Christ had that 5D. Gandhi had that 5D. You know, it's been said that Buddha had the 5D consciousness. So what people are doing is they're going from 3 to 4 to 5D in droves around the planet. And when you look at the Sherman resonance and you look it up in terms, I think it's 7.3 megahertz, 7.38 megahertz, it's starting to rise, the vibration. And whoever doesn't have that vibration, those are the ones that are dying off the planet. So this is a pandemic. People are not dying from COVID. They are dying from pre-existing conditions. Don't believe the hype, y'all. Right. Okay, don't believe the hype about this pandemic. They are dying from pre-existing conditions. COVID is basically what is like a flu, right? It's like a cold. What it does is a bioweapon that they use as a way to populate control, right? Straight up, all about population control. I mean, come on, this is Planned Parenthood with Margaret Sanger. What do you think Planned Parenthood was about?
To kill people of color.
That's kill people of color, so-called color.
Exactly.
She was a known admitted eugenist. She admitted that she was a eugenist. Come on now.
And Hillary Clinton received that award and was blushing, turned red as a firecracker.
Exactly.
I don't trust at all. Look, Bruce, the more I listen to you, it seems like the next word that's about to come out of your mouth is about string theory. Because
I heard that.
I noticed when you were going a little while back, a few minutes ago, and I noticed you kind of stepped away from it and didn't want to get too technical. But I could tell where you were going, brother. I
want you to break it down for us then.
Oh, it's all about vibration.
Right. All about it.
Harmonics. The thing is, look, people. I mean, oh my God, every answer we have is in the Bible. There's an ancient scholar, Hebrew scholar, called Nachmanides. What he did years ago, studying the first several books of Genesis, he discovered that there were 10 dimensions just from studying the book of Genesis. And right now, scientists, they declare that there are 11. So, well, the brother might have been off by 1. But what he did was he learned that just by studying the Bible. Okay, there are so many things within that are in the Bible that we don't understand. Like the thing about 0 point energy. People want to talk about the age of the universe, and I tend to lean on whatever God says. Whatever argument I make, I try to prove God right. Therefore, I can't be wrong.
That's right.
And if you look and you consider the fact right now, what's being taught in science is actually wrong. There's a guy named Barry Setterfield. Him and one of his colleagues, Chuck Missler, back in the 80s, Barry Setterfield did research to show that the speed of light is not a constant. The fact that the speed of light was actually faster 3,000 or 4,000 years ago than it is now. It was actually faster 100 years ago than it is now. And if you extrapolate that and you consider the fact 0 point energy, let's just say this: 0 point energy is like shining light in a pool. Of course, if you're gonna pass light through a conduit, then it can lessen the speed and lessen the maximum outcome and the maximum potential that occurs within it. Well, 0 point energy has that same effect on light, and since 5 or 6,000 years ago, 0 point energy has increased, and therefore it's had a commensurate effect on the speed of light. So, long story short, right now the speed of light 5 or 6,000 years ago was actually 10 million times faster than what it is now. Now you take that exact same data when you go through and do your own hockey curve, your own hockey stick, and extrapolate that and realize that thousands of years ago, the speed of light might have been 10 million times faster than it is now. And then you age the universe. You'll find that it might not be 16 billion years old. It might be something that's more biblically relevant than what they want you to believe now.
What they want you to believe, but don't forget that they left out the Book of Enoch for a reason. They took the Book of Enoch out for a reason, because they don't want you to know just how revolutionary Jesus was. The Romans wanted to pacify him as being so passive, right? Oh, he was very revolutionary. This is way beyond just turning over tables, right? The money changers. And his disciples were strapped. They were no joke. So they want to pacify him. And what got him killed was the fact that the people were to make him, they were about to make him king, right? So the Last Supper was about him becoming a king. Pontius Pilate could care less. Pontius Pilate was like, why you want to kill this man? Everybody and their baby brothers calling themselves a king. Why you want to kill him? Because the people believed that he was king. That's what got him killed. And the Pharisees, the Pharisees are nothing but modern day Negro preachers.
Yep.
Sellouts, the ones that are the sellouts. We were hanging ourselves. But they don't want you to know we were hanging ourselves. Those Pharisees were our people that look like us, killing us. And by the way, I got a jewel for you. The word church comes from the word Circe. Look it up. It's a Scottish word. The word church is a Scottish word for the word Circe, which which comes from the word Kirk, Captain Kirk, enterprise. And that is the word Circe comes from Mother Circe. In Greek mythology, what she would do is she would have people come into her home, take over their minds, and then eat them like animals. She would eat them as if she would just eat them, take over their minds. That's exactly what a lot of churches are doing. They have you come in, take over your mind, take your money, indoctrinate you, boom, and that's it. So look up the word church, and then the root word of church comes from Circe, which is the Knights Templar, right? You're talking bank owners and all of those different things. We had synagogues, we didn't have churches, right? So that's a whole nother ball game right there. That's a whole nother ball game. So what's happening is that people are more woke now than ever. They would want you to believe that we're asleep, right? No, we're on a whole nother resonance. And this whole 5G. Go ahead.
I
I'm sorry.
I would like to differentiate the kind of woke you're talking about and the kind of woke
Okay.
they're talking about on TV. You're talking about two different kinds of woke,
Right.
because
Okay.
that kind of woke we see on TV is nothing to be trumped. But the
You're
kind of
not going to
woke
see
you're
that. You're not going
talking
to see it on
about,
television because
no.
that's the elite media.
But
The
I
elite,
know
the elite
our
media. You're
kind
not
of
going to see
woke,
it on television.
our kind of
The
woke, the
revolution will
woke
not
that's
be
going
free.
on with
It
these
will not be
four brothers on
televised.
the phone, with these four followers of Jesus. Exactly. No, no, no.
It will not be
I just want to
televised.
put that out there that the woke you see on the 3-letter networks and the 4-letter networks, they ain't got shit to do with what we're talking about right now.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And you see the thing about it, and Gil Scott Heron and Mo Love he said it. The
That's right.
revolution will not be televised. You know, you
Exactly.
have the elite media. The media is nothing but a gatekeeper to the state, which is the gatekeeper to the class, to the
But you
ruling
know
class.
something
That's all they are.
also.
Man,
Yep.
You know
amen,
something
bro.
also. Okay, you know
There it
something
is.
also,
Mic
because when this
drop.
pandemic kicked off, when Biden became president, you know, with Kamala Harris, and then you had the insurrection that actually happened. All of a sudden, all of the networks decided to go black. I don't know if anybody was paying attention to that, because all of a sudden, prior to that incident, you had a lot of white people doing a lot of commercials, you know, Pizza Hut and all this kind of stuff. But as soon as Kamala Harris and that the whole thing went down, and that insurrection, even Biden got on television. He says, "Oh, they're hiring a lot more black people to do commercials now." Of course, because they don't want to show that America is racist. You know, and that's the bottom line right there. You know,
But let me add something. Let me add that.
of racism
Yeah.
running straight through, and that's what
Y'all
this
give me a
country is
minute.
founded on.
Yeah, go ahead. Let me add another layer of understanding to this. There was a film that was made in the early 80s called Wag the Dog. It was the concept of creating an image to defend politics in the background and the truth behind politics. The same concept now. Media is nothing, as you said, a gatekeeper
To
or
the state.
they're actually a tool to devise the image of how they want to be portrayed. Politics and media are the same, one in hand.
You already know it.
They're
Yeah.
only created to
They're running
create
the
an
same game.
image, right? An image of what they want people to ingest as the truth. When the reality
Exactly.
behind it doesn't want attention, the reality behind it doesn't need attention. The real stream behind all this stuff is not even exposed. Why? Because the minute it becomes exposed, then lies get exposed.
Okay, let
Absolutely.
me add another layer to what you just said. Because remember, the majority of the big time donors come from the big networks. You know, and when a lot of these endorsements, you know, like the
Exactly.
Washington Post, or we're going to endorse this person, we're going to endorse that person, and the crowd just follows to that particular and put that
It's
particular
herdism.
person exactly and put that particular politician in office. You know, so yes, the media controls the minds of America through the politicians. You know, look what went on with the insurrection. We all watched it on television. We all saw it happen. But but a few days ago, only Dick Cheney and his daughter was the only person in Congress that was actually there because of the insurrection. All of the other politicians didn't bother to show up. They boycotted. But they know that what they were doing was wrong. There's no doubt about it. But all of them just decided to sit back and follow Donald Trump and the whole 9 yards. This country is deeply divided, and a house divided against itself cannot stand. And we saw that.
But here's something else to consider. While there was so much attention talking about the insurrection or the anniversary, people weren't paying attention that in Congress they were deciding about arming the 5G movement, trying to give more infrastructure money to the 5G because they wanted to make sure that there's towers everywhere. The truth behind 5G is that it eliminates the resonance of people as we're resonating in our vibrations. It's trying to cap us from having a greater expansiveness that we normally would have. It's trying to
Exactly. And Bill, and I'm gonna tell you something. You're spot on with that. Why do you think Bill Gates is trying to stop the ozone? You heard what he was doing. He's trying to do, right?
Yep.
Because of people that don't have that melanin, they're trying to block the sun, bro.
Right.
But you know
Working on trying to block the sun is crazy.
Mo was talking about the 5G. 5G, let me tell you something. The Japanese have invented a high-speed internet service way past the freaking 5G. It's almost a million times faster than what they have here in the United States. It's no different from the type of trains like the bullet train. The bullet train wasn't invented overseas in Japan. The inventor is from the United States. He was right here. It just so happened he's a foreigner in the United States that came up with a magnetic levitational train. But what happened, he took it to Europe, and that's where it became popular because they did not want to give him and grant him the patents here in the United States. So he took it overseas. And that's how that bullet train really came about. Now, America,
So what we need to do is we're in the matrix. The bottom line is no matter how do you slice it and dice it, we're in the matrix.
Yes,
so when they talk about this metaverse, we've been in the metaverse, get a late pass.
Right.
So how do we get out of the matrix is the question. Or how do you work through the matrix? Let's look at the matrix. You got Neo, right? He was symbolic to fighting. You have Trinity. Trinity was symbolic to love. You have Morpheus. Morpheus was symbolic to what? Knowledge.
Knowledge, right.
So the way you work through and you fight the matrix is through knowledge, through love, because love will always outweigh hate, good will always outweigh bad, and fighting. Agitate.
Exactly.
Right? That's how you work through the matrix. And taking the red pill and not the blue pill instead of going down the rabbit hole, staying rooted in reality, because this is in Ephesians, this is a war, not of the flesh, but of the spirit. And those people in high places and principalities, this is a spiritual warfare. This is not carnal. The weapons are not carnal, it's spiritual.
But see, we have to realize that the things that exist, excuse me, things that are not made by things that do appear. See, our thoughts when we talked about earlier about quantum physics, okay, the double slit experiment, by observing something, we can actually change where something is and how it reacts. Okay, so the Bible said, "Call things that be not as though they were."
As though they were.
When it was dark, what did God say? He just said, "Man, it's dark.
Let there be light."
He said, "Let there be light." Okay,
that's right.
Whatever is going on, we have control. See, the thing is, we are
that's
literally gods of this planet. We have dominion. We have dominion. And if we see something that isn't the way we want it, we have the ability that Adam didn't do what he should have did and kick Satan out, or not take his advice, or do whatever he wanted Adam and Eve to do. What he should have done was take control, and then we wouldn't be in the situation we're in now. But nevertheless, we are where we are, and we've been given that authority again. So now we need to walk in dominion, call things that be not as though they were, because things that exist are not made of things which do appear.
That's right. Absolutely.
But it also says in the last days, you won't be fighting against flesh and blood. It's powers and principalities.
Powers and principalities. Straight up Ephesians.
It's not flesh and blood. So a lot of people are thinking, we warned it. No, we're dividing ourselves because of what's transpiring. You have, just like you said, a lot of the powers are freaking out right about now because the game that they actually set. Remember, all of this was done way before we were even born. The very first pandemic was back in 1918. You see what I'm saying? When they came, and that's what created the Great Depression, was based on that.
All of that was man-made. All of that was man-made.
Going all the way back from
all that 2008, the market crash. All of that was man-made.
The reason why all of that spread back then, because they started celebrating the ending of World War II, and everybody took off the mask and they went out partying the whole night, and everything flared up.
Well, the history speaks of 1622. There was a mass death of so many people because they found graves, especially around Siberia. Some of it called it some super pandemic that took place in that time. We're going to find out that it's cyclical. And it's a cyclical thing because the way Gaia works, she has a tendency of helping to cycle and clean and cleanse the earth of those things that are hurting her. So because we are naturally foragers and farmers, we know how to tend to the earth because we're people of the earth. So as things that people of the earth, we know how to cleanse that. It's what we're seeing is just the way Gaia is now cleansing herself.
Preach. There's a quote that says the streets is self-cleaning.
Exactly. So
Yes.
it's just like it's just like we see our women as being the procreators. So we look at them and God bodies call them earths because they're able to procreate and they have the ability to cleanse themselves also naturally. The way their systems are, the earth does the same thing. We as conscious beings, we understand that we're not here to control that. We're here to be liquid with them and to connect with the earth and be the fruit that's supposed to be of them. The problem that we see in society today is that we think we're living in a society where those Eurocentric individuals want to be dominant of this thing that you can never dominate, which is the earth, Gaia, the energy, the creators, all these things that we come from. We're people that understand that all these things work in synchronicity for the benefit of us in our creation and our existence. It's when we break the links by trying to dominate or breaking the links and trying to do up or do one better than the next man instead of understanding there's a role in playing for all of us. We won't actually see the truths about it. But now, as we said before, more of us are becoming aware that crust is being lifted. The eye is coming open. We're starting to actually be conscious about our actions, conscious about the impacts that we have. Let it be the Kabbalah, let it be the science behind ancient meta nature, let it be whatever the science could be, even the way biblical or Judaist learning. There's education to be had in all these ancient scriptures. If you read them the way they're intended for you to ingest the education, you will see that there's a greater understanding for it. It is not to exclude you from everyone else, because that's what I hate about man. We tend to exclude everyone. If you're not part of this, then you're not us, and you have to die. And, you know, all this stuff. And the interpretation that's been perverted for so long is not understanding that each one of us are linked in one another. Our genetic makeup, our DNA is all the same. The differences are what man has ingested or tried to create dominance, whether it's genetics or the way you saw genetic training, how they're trying to go through white supremacy and Aryan natures, and how they've seen genetics being a Yaqub and the science of Yaqub as being the engineer, ancient Arabic engineering. When we get involved in this process of dissecting and breaking apart the DNA of who we are and the origins and the strategies that we were built for, that's when we fall apart. We are built for something.
Exactly. And I was saying earlier, it's nitrogen, oxygen, carbon, and hydrogen. The same thing that's in the universe is the same thing that's in the universe. Same 4 elements. They don't want you to know that, though. Carbon, you know, as up top, so below, as in, out. That's Kabbalah. The opposites, you know, the law of opposites, right? You know, it's everything is different in degree, not in kind.
The life tree,
exactly. Everything that the Buddhists say, everything inter R and inter B. Good has the seeds of bad. Day has the seeds of night. Truth has the seeds of a lie, right? It's all intertwined. You know, even in the Bible, God says there's a time for everything. There's a time to embrace. There's a time to refrain from embracing. There's a time for love. There's a time for hate. There's a time for war. There's a time for peace. There's a time to everything. There's a time for everything under the sun. So what's happening now? The jig is up and the cat is out the bag. And the so-called powers that be know that.
But you know the thing about that you're not including? Because a lot of the pandemics or a lot of the viruses are coming up out of, it seems like it's a form of retaliation from the smaller or some of the nations or the smaller areas, certain parts of the world against the rest of the world. This is the only thing that could actually bring the economy in many countries to a crawl, to a grinding, screeching halt. Because remember, the entire planet shut down at one time and everything started growing at that particular period in time when everything was shut down. Like in New York City, there was a shitload of rats running around like crazy because they had nothing to freaking eat. So they were running the street like crazy. You know, there was a lot of animals that was actually saw him to come back because of man's destruction against it when the whole entire planet shut down.
Remember this. Remember what Dr. Miles Monroe said. You don't break the law breaks you. There's a natural law and there's a spiritual law that no matter what they do, they can't surpass that. Period. My brother was talking about the Holy Bible. He was talking about the Bible. The truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but in the end, there it is staring you right in your face. You can't, there's nothing you can do. The truth is the truth. You cannot surpass that, right? Right is wrong, right is right, and wrong is wrong. Love
Correct.
will always
as
outweigh hate. Good will always outweigh evil. I don't give a damn what they try to do. I
But you
wrote a
know,
quote
yes,
where I said, I wrote a
yep.
quote where I said, no matter how low you keep your wickedness, karma knows how to limbo,
but
right?
let me
So
let,
they can do whatever they
Exactly.
want to do.
That's right.
Whatever they
As
want to do.
as
and
You get away with nothing.
Nothing.
you know, but the thing about it is because I always say there's three types of justices. There's God's justice, man's justice, and street justice, and one of them going to catch you, no matter how
All
you.
of them are going to catch you.
One of them going to catch you, just like those guys that kill Arbery. Man's justice got him. You see what I'm saying? One of
Absolutely.
them going to get you. If you're on the streets and you're drug dealing in the whole 9 yards, and you think that you're going to get away by doing craziness, one of them
It's
is
going,
going to catch you. Either man's
you
going to
can do
get you,
what you like, but not as long as you like. You can do what you like, but not as long as you like.
There you
because
go.
you're
well, see, look,
borrowed
here's
time.
the thing. Here's
Borrowed
one
time.
thing. Here's one thing that I learned. I got a good preacher that I listened to, and he said one thing that was very significant. You can choose the sin, but you can't choose the consequence. See, there are a lot of
Mm,
girls that when they go to college, they have sex for the first time, they get pregnant. Some people have sex and they just, just get away scot free. Nothing really happens to them. But the thing is, we can choose our actions. We
hmm.
cannot choose the consequences because those things are outside of our control. And right
Outside.
now, they're trying to make it seem like we have control. We have control in a way, or at least they
Exactly.
want us to believe that they have control. Okay, they want to talk about this global warming stuff. Okay,
Mm,
and how we're destroying the earth and all that. Look, hey, it's like this. Genesis 8:22 says, "Seed time and harvest shall not pass." Okay,
mm.
God
Preach.
told you. He made the rainbow, and he said that there was not going to be another flood to destroy all life on earth the way it's done, the way it did back in the day. Okay,
Preach.
that's fact. Okay, and right now they're trying to make us believe that. And look, how the reason this is so shaky and so sketchy about what they're doing is they want to incorporate money into everything. They want to have a
Mm,
carbon tax. They
Money
want to
rules
have a tax
everything
on this
around it.
and tax on
Cream,
that. The thing is,
cream.
I mean, look, the Bible, if basically God didn't know what the hell he was doing if we could come in and just destroy everything that he made.
mm,
He
mm.
made this earth to be able to replenish itself, and he gave us dominion over this earth.
That's
Okay,
right.
so
That's right.
everything they're talking about, as far as oh well, the seas are going to rise, it's going to do
He,
this, it's going to do that. They can't even predict the weather 3 weeks from now. They don't know what they propose to know, and
They
everything
didn't
is
even
just
predict. They didn't even
speculation.
predict the snowstorm that came. It came out of nowhere.
Exactly, exactly.
Out of
but you know,
nowhere.
It's like,
but you know something, guys. It really boils down to this also, because when you have man, you know, man is known to destroy a lot of things, including human life. We all know this, you know. But at the
especially
same
human
time, you
life.
know, exactly. And you just said something a little while ago, Martin, where you said about a global warming. Because if we live in a bubble, and every time we turn around, we keep punching holes in that bubble from all different parts. Look at Kim Jong Un. This guy is actually saying he has a hypersonic missile that could actually go around the world like the Russian has. Okay, we're punching. So there's consequences to everything in life, no matter how you
Hmm.
cut it. So when you
Right.
actually take Bill Gates and these guys go up to space, they punch another hole. You know, and Elon Musk when they put some more satellites floating over our heads are nothing but a junkyard of nothing but technology that's floating
Hmm.
around in space. They say
Hmm.
that at times they have to stop certain things because here comes another freaking satellite that's a junk from Russia or India or China passing by.
Yeah, they're waiting for the Russian aircraft to land on Earth.
You
Right.
know, so we've
They're
punched so
expecting
many
a
holes.
Russian
If we live
aircraft
in
to
a
land on Earth.
bubble, say you have a bubble and the bubble is underwater, and you keep
Hmm.
punching holes in that bubble. Obviously, the water is going to get in. It's no different from the sun. The sun gets in all over and over. It's going to melt the glaciers that goes into the water that causes the sun, you know, the water to rise.
Right.
And then the evaporation from the clouds is going to take it and drop it over a certain part of the ground. It's going to cause a lot of floods. It's very
Mm.
simplistic. Very
Yeah.
simplistic.
This is, I'm gonna tell you, I gotta bounce, but I'm gonna say this. This was an amazing conversation. And do you have this archive, Brother Mo?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. I would love to get the archive to this because
Okay.
brothers having this type of powwow, we need to do this more often. I don't know how often you do it, and and Adrian, I don't know how often you do this, but this needs to happen with bros often.
Right.
To get this information out to the masses.
Good
Because
collaboration.
everybody's dropping all these jewels, man. People need to hear this. So,
Yep.
this
Just
was
just
this
as a
was a dope.
reference. Just as a
Yeah,
reference, this is the website where you can get the archive. Brother Adrian is the archivist and the
I
manager
love
for
it.
the website. So
I
he's able
love
to
it.
click on it, and it's also on the
Okay.
YouTube. So it'll be there
Yeah,
live.
Okay.
he has it on the YouTube because I says, if I post it on the website, you can just put it off for YouTube. You have the
Right.
Okay.
instant access right there. So there's no
Right.
need to
Okay.
waste additional space on the website when it's right there on YouTube. The biggest library on the planet
Right.
is
Okay.
YouTube.
Sounds good.
Everybody
Well,
has
Damn,
I
to
want to
man.
salute. I want to salute all of you. This was dope. I really appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
Definitely, I appreciate you going to the website and checking it out. So the Genius is Coming movement is about to break mainstream any day, hour, a month now, like Black Lives Matter, the Me Too movements, respectively.
Well,
We're
Brother
about
Bruce,
taking the elitism out of the word genius. That's what the movement is. We're an anti-elitist movement, and we're about taking the elitism out of the word genius.
I appreciate it.
Like I told you earlier. So when they say you're only a genius, you have 130, 140 IQ and Mensa, that was nonsense. That was an arbitrary number made up at Stanford University to make you 1% of the population, which is rooted in elitism. What they don't want you to know is that the true origin of the word genius doesn't just apply to intellect. Even Einstein said we're all geniuses. And if you were to judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree or spend its whole life believing that it's stupid, Buckminster Fuller said that every child is born a genius, but the process of life de-geniuses them. The German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer said that talent hits a target that no one else can hit, but genius hits a target that no one else can see. So we're the first movement to let the world know that the true origin of the word genius comes from the word genie out of northern Africa, not ancient Rome. And the genie is the guiding tutelary spirit within each of us. So the genius in us is the genie in us, and the genie in us is the God in us. We've been lied to. And so definitely check out the website. I would implore your audience to go to geniusiscommon.com. I'm excited to be here with these bros, and we got to keep, like Garvey said, agitate, agitate, agitate.
Right.
I mean, Frederick Douglass said agitate, 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 but Garvey said, "Up, you mighty people, you can accomplish what you will." So we need to really continue to just fight the good fight of faith and just continue to
That's right.
fight, and then take it
That's
from
right.
there.
That's right.
But I'm
Bruce
saluting
is
all
a
of y'all.
Bruce.
You
Bruce
jump,
is
you
a
jump ahead.
professional mic dropper.
I
Bruce is a
appreciate that.
professional mic dropper.
Hey,
I
Bruce.
That is
appreciate
how
that.
you
Praise
drop a
God.
mic.
Right.
That is
Bruce,
how you
before
drop
you,
a mic, bro.
hey,
I
Bruce, you
appreciate
want to
that.
get in contact with Martin, right? You want to just
Absolutely. Yeah, please set that up because I want to connect him within the Genius is Coming movement. And Mo Love as well. I want to connect with Mo Love as well. I want to get them in the movement. And then I want to connect the bro with Ray Mapp because he needs to be on one of those posters with his invention. And I'm going to
But hey,
promote
look, hold up.
everything you're doing.
I want to give one shout out to Mo's wife. I got to give a shout out to Mo's wife.
That's what's
She's
up.
upstairs.
Last time,
Uh-huh.
absolutely. Hey, tell her I send my love. I remember our
Well,
last conversation,
I
and
will,
I
Mark.
enjoyed it so much. And I mean, you truly have something special by your side, just like I do.
I
So
do that.
we
My
about to
brown
keep
sugar. That's
going,
right.
man.
Brown sugar cake. That's right.
There's always a good woman behind a strong man. Always.
There it is.
There's
Indeed.
always a
We
there's
need
always
it.
a strong woman in the background or a side ground or whatever,
Indeed.
foreground or whatever. So that's a
Indeed.
blessing.
Hey,
Well,
that's
All
our
right, y'all.
crutch.
right. Well,
That's our
gentlemen,
crutch.
this is how we usually close the show. Bruce, thank you for coming on. What we usually do is give everybody a chance, a few minutes to share something that they'd like to produce. You jumped ahead, which is fine.
He needs to be on.
I'm sorry. I had to upload. Facebook had to refresh. But
Okay.
we do is give everybody a chance to say a few words. If you'd like to introduce anything, advertise something. But Bruce, I think you already did. If you'd like anything else, you're welcome to do so. And then Martin, after that, you're welcome to do the same.
Okay. Now, I just want to thank you and Adrian for having me on his show. This is a dope show. I'm excited to connect with some like-minded bros. So this needs to continue. So from my mouth to your ears, my Genius is Coming movement is behind you 190%. promoting
peace.
everything that you guys are doing. So
Peace.
I'm ready to get it in,
Beautiful, beautiful.
Love it.
All right, cool.
Love it. Appreciate
All right,
it.
y'all.
Thank you.
Brother Martin, it's up on
Thank
you
you for
now,
your
man.
time, Bruce. Thank you for your time, sir.
I appreciate y'all. God bless, all right?
Yeah.
All right, be safe.
Peace,
All right,
brother.
peace.
Peace
All
to
right.
you. All right.
Martin.
All right, cool. Hey, look, hey, Mo, Adrian, thank you all for the opportunity. Sorry, I wasn't where I need to be to show this pretty face.
But
But
People can see pretty through the dark.
great. Hey, look. Thanks a lot. It's been great. Bruce dropped a lot of knowledge, and I'm gonna look forward to talking to him next week. You know, I just really I really feel like I'm talking to peers, and you know how when you want to go deep with some people, how you realize you can only go so far.
Right.
Well, you know what? I got to bring my scuba gear when I hang out with you guys. Okay.
I was able to pull, Bruce off. I'm like, whoa, you're kicking a lot of knowledge here, my brother. You need to round it up with the fellas, and you go toe to toe with me online. You know what I'm saying? Let's get it on the air. Let's see how you're gonna come out. This is what I call the arena. You know what I'm saying? So I tell everybody, if they want to argue with me on Facebook, meet me on Friday. You can see me in person. This beautiful face, and we can go at it.
Well, hey, look, I'm gonna tell you what Bruce was doing. Bruce was coming up, dog paddling a little bit. He took a deep breath, and then next thing you know, his ass was at the bottom of the pool. Okay, he was going deep. Okay, so I enjoyed that.
I know that he was going to connect with you. The other brother that was supposed to come on, his name is Styles. Recording studio. I sent him a text message. I don't know what happened, but I'll be talking to the brother tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? But like I said,
that's another episode coming up then.
It's just a matter of time. Yeah, you never know what people go through in their life. So, I'm not going to judge a book by its cover at all. So the bottom line is next time around, he may be on,
when he sees this, if he's the caliber of brother you were discussing, just like me and Bruce, he's going to be like, man, I could have dropped some knowledge. I could have learned a lot. I could have really had a big part in the conversation. So just like Bruce, I enjoyed myself, and it was fun holding my breath and getting down to the bottom.
Didn't I say that it was going to be really good? I told you that earlier.
Hey, you told me. Hey, your word is your word.
Yeah, I told you I was going to enjoy this immensely.
Brother, I really appreciate Martin. I really appreciate seeing you again, man. We're still plotting on that spring cookout. We're ready to hit down to Mississippi for you, bro. I told you that, man. We'll come. I want to make sure that you have an opportunity. If there's new endeavors or something else developing in the world of business, or even in a situation if you just want to spare a second of wisdom with the public, please do so at this time. Go ahead, Mark.
All right, cool. Well, the main thing is, look, my smart application for the hair dryer. Right now, what I have set up could actually fuck with Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
It's next level, and I'm getting ready towards, Lord willing, towards the end of this month, I'll be able to shoot my crowdfunding video, and by the end of February, I should be able to launch my campaign. But not only are we going to revolutionize the hair and beauty industry, but we're going to put it back in the hands of our people, and we're gonna be able to take it out of the hands of other people. Okay. And we can use this smart application to create a social media atmosphere that will be inclusive to not just blacks, not just whites, but to everyone. And there's a spin-off from that because of the sheer definition of what I'm putting together that could actually make Facebook and Instagram passe.
Martin, also, you was talking about the CES show, the Consumer Electronics, because that show just actually finished passing a few days ago. Obviously, I was a member of that also. You were supposed to be in it, correct?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the delegation from the state of Mississippi, because of the um,
Omicron.
Omicron variant and all that stuff, everything kind of, kind of just fell out. So I
Yeah.
just had to go ahead on and say, okay, well, you know what? I'm not going to depend on anyone else. That's why I'm doing my crowdfunding campaign, because I'm going to do this independently and not depend on anyone else. So my days of waiting on other people to do something are done. And right now, the things that I have within my authority, within my God given authority,
There you go.
I'm laying claim on that, and that's how I'm operating.
Amen.
So
There you go.
look forward. Hey, look, Mo, Adrian, look, when things get to where they need to be, I know where to come and I know where to go. And these coattails are gonna, be able to benefit more than just random strangers. Okay, it's gonna be. Let's just say coattails need to be delegated. Okay, and the thing is, if I can elevate you, you're gonna elevate me.
Absolutely.
So I'll be in the situation to help you, but believe me, you're helping me at the same time. So it's all about giving and receiving and doing it in brotherly love. Just like Bruce said, you defeat evil with good. You use love to defeat everything. Okay, so we're not gonna do it with the angry spirit. We're gonna do it with the lovely, loving, godly spirit.
That's right.
And
God be.
therefore, we got the Creator on our side. And if God be for us, then I don't give a damn who
That's
against
right.
us.
That's
That's
right.
my edit.
There you go.
Think about it also, Martin, because like I've always preached, because even Bruce will say that your network is your net worth.
Right.
If Mo has like 4,000 and I have 5,000 followers and stuff, you know what I'm saying? You got the numbers there on your side. You send me the video, I pass it over to him. We post it online, and if you develop a chain of individuals posting this online, it's going to get the necessary play.
Yes,
Because
it will.
remember, a lot of stuff in newspapers are like dead and gone. Social media has taken over damn near everything now. So now it puts the power in the hands of the people. It's no different from when something bad happens, everybody's sharing. And then when it gets around, everybody knows about it. Same concept. We can use this as a network to do something.
That's right.
Well, one thing that frustrates me is all this cancel culture stuff. And I got the truth. I got the solution for the cancel culture. And it's basically gonna take me about from launch of the hair dryer, I would imagine within 5 years, I think we can have at least quarter 250 million people on this platform. And at that point, then it's only a matter of time before it becomes dominant. So let's just look forward to not following, but to leading.
That's
Yeah,
And
right.
we just have to make sure we lead with the right spirit. And I'm not trying to please man, but if God is pleased with me, then I can die happy.
There you go.
you could also, hook up with, like it says, with Bruce, because Bruce is running that network, and that network is really powerful for so many people to get a hold of your product.
Right.
Oh, I'm gonna
To
hit
raise
Bruce
the
up.
curiosity of your product.
Look, I'm gonna hit Bruce up so hard, it's gonna be ridiculous. We're gonna get to know each other real well.
That's
I
awesome.
want
There you
to I
go.
want to text you his number,
That's
so you
Okay,
guys can
cool.
interconnect.
That's awesome.
Same here. And yeah, he and I we have some real good biblical discussions.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the
you
main
know.
thing is business. I mean, first of all, God is the main thing. But as far as business goes, I believe we have a similar mindset. And with you and Mo, I mean, we got everything we need.
You,
We're gonna
you
make it
know,
happen. That's right.
the strange thing about that, Martin, because my vision was exactly what happened here today. Even though the other individual didn't show up, tonight, it was part of my vision anyway. The way how we have four of us on there, because I know that you and Bruce was going to connect like there's no tomorrow, and you did, and everything went circular and everything went, full speed. was pretty good. Very good conversation, very informative, and I dig it.
Right.
Hey, four brothers talking quantum physics and the truth of the universe. How can things get any better than that?
Well, the thing about it is because he loves the quantum stuff, and you have the freaking blow dryer in the company by the name of Quantum. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And he's talking about a genius in you. You're the perfect person to represent his freaking brand as the genius.
Oh, yeah.
Because your brother, you came up with your own invention. So if he's pushing the genius in you, Martin, you fit right into that mold, right there by itself. You're doing everything by yourself. This is the guy that you connect to bring the whole piece together. Because it takes two to make things go right.
I strongly believe
Well, hey,
everything was intended, and it's
Correct.
intended the way God designs it. So us meeting and then whatever transpires from there, it's only because his hands allowed it to do so. So let's just continue to glorify his work, his name, and his love for each one of us, and the work he's put upon us and the task us. And let's do this, man, because there's so much more to live for. There's so much opportunity out there that is designed for us. So it's in front of us. So as we move and leap forward in faith, understand that we got you. We got your back, Martin. Brother Bruce just came on. We're part of the family. You know how the family goes. Man, we're part of the family.
Blessed by the best. That's all. Just wrap it up. He was blessed by the best. That's it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, hey, look. Happy New Year, you guys. I think we started everything off in a fantastic way. I can't imagine the year starting off any better for this show, for this program, and for everyone. Just look forward to know that this is not the end. This is just the beginning. This is not the best. This is just something good.
That's right.
Definitely.
All right.
I mean,
hey, look, God bless.
Like you, brother.
Oh man, good seeing you, and look forward to talking to you soon.
We'll talk again.
As a matter of fact, hey, look, we probably gonna talk tomorrow anyway, and we'll make these connections, and then me and Bruce gonna have to chop it up a little bit.
Yeah, well, you've met each other, and you guys should be able to work out the details.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, hey, look, you all, God bless, and continue forward.
Thanks,
and I'm hoping I'm still a team member.
Oh, yeah, you are, man. You're nominated. Don't even worry about it.
All right.
All right, brother.
All right, now. Take care.
Enjoy the weekend, no doubt. I'll holler.
Well, Brother Adrian, as again, successfully recruited some more members of the family. It's good talking to them, man. I see a lot of potential development and building, but as you would say before, you're working on increasing that network. It's about to bring everybody some net worth. There's a lot larger than it is.
God is good, Mo, because next week, I'm getting ready to hit the road with a new position, my own doggone self. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I've partnered with a company as an independent contractor, so I'll be hitting the road as of Sunday. And so then I'll be put in a hotel, heading up to Jersey City. We help set up supermarkets. Yeah, so I'll be heading out of town, Sunday. I won't be back until like Thursday, so I'll be hitting a few supermarkets up north.
You know some people up there?
What's that?
Do you know some people up there in Jersey?
I got that. You know what I'm saying? I know people all over the damn place, and if I don't, I'll get to know them.
That's my second home, just in case.
I've been to the Caribbean. I've made friends of mine down in Florida that's Haitian. You know what I'm saying? So wherever I go, I'm very well wide received. You know what I'm saying? So
I was going to say, just in case you needed to, man, I'll make sure you got someone there to fall back on if you need. All right?
I'm always good, man. God is good. I got my people all over the place looking out for a brother. You know what I'm saying? But it's good to know. So like I said, next week so my weekends is going to be pretty much, I'll be able to come on Fridays or whatever the case may be, but from Monday to probably like Thursday, so I'll be on the road.
Okay.
Doing things. So I'm working with other companies, and I'm going to continue to keep building that network because that's what it's about. What I saw here tonight is something that, I actually preconceived, and I'm like, okay, this is going to work out really well because both of the brothers are very tight. They're able to get their stuff together, and they did. They chopped it up big time. Martin was impressed. One of them is like the genius in you. The other one is the genius. I mean, you can't miss it.
Okay.
So it was pretty good. I really enjoyed it.
We're gonna let it do what it do. It's always build up on it, man. But as the time goes, we have agreed on that. This is about the time to cut off for us tonight. I guess you basically said what you had to say, unless you got something else you got to say.
No, I've said enough. I've said enough.
I got you. And for anybody listening, we hope that you enjoyed the show. We hope you got encouraged. I hope you picked up a couple gems of wisdom from all the people that we come across. The New Norm is basically a hub where we get all these great minds that come in and just share a little nugget of their reality with us, so we can all just benefit from. Are we experts in our own lives? Yes. Are we experts in everything? Not necessarily, but we're not here to judge that. We're here about living and helping one another the best way we can. If anyone's interested in getting any more information, you're welcome to go over to our website at thenewnorm.com. .club. I'm sorry, forgive me. And let me put it back up there. And you'll be able to look in through the information through our web-based mall. And you go there and you can get some archives and some other resource information. There's tons of information available at the website. Brother Adrian has made sure we have a plethora of access available to that, including his radio show.
And if you don't know, let me know and we'll get it.
That's right. That's right. It's just like that old show in the 70s we used to watch. It's Lenny. If he ain't got none, there ain't any. When it comes to time, that's how we do. Exactly. That's how we do. So, and ongoing, as we move on into 2022, we want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable in knowing that tomorrow really lays in your hands. Whatever happens, it's all about you. It's all about love. Let's move forward. Let nothing stand in your way. Progress is about what we do. Thank you for tuning in. The New Norm 2.0. My man Adrian, I'm Mo Delgado. I'm your host. We wish you the best. God bless you. And make sure to tune in next week again, next Friday at 10 p.m. And we're probably going to have some more exciting guests and more exciting conversations. And if there's anything you'd like to speak upon, or if there's any topics that you've talked about or maybe consider talking in the future, you're welcome to come on the show. And if not, come on the website itself and just drop us a line. There's a comment section, and we'll look at it and review it all the time. And if there's something feasible that's really dynamic or something that's astrologically amazing to bless it, of course we're going to do it. Even the silly shit. We're open. We're human beings. We love to joke around as human beings do. So come on by and share some information. The New Norm is here for you. Thank you for coming in. God bless you. Remember, the snowfall, after that, the spring is coming, but we got a little bit of snow coming in the next couple of days. Y'all just be careful and be safe out there.
But you know something before I go, Mo? I like to let everybody know the reason why they call it the weather, because you don't give a damn whether you like it or not. So just deal with it. You know what I'm saying?
Damn. That's true.
Just deal with it. That's it.
Y'all be blessed now. Take care now.
Have a good one.